Well, now that it's loading, I suppose I can say hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Total Chaos. Chapter 1 Arrival, apparently. And here we are. Now, I just realised that the FOV is a bit too high, believe it or not. Yes, even for me. So I'm going to put that down to like 104, I think. Apply all that. There we go, that's a little bit better. Too high for YouTube. I can play like that, personally, but yeah, let's begin. So, Total Chaos is a brand new psychological horror action-adventure game. And as you can see, it's extremely atmospheric. So, I want to go over to the dock. I don't think there's anything in the ship itself that I just came on, but oh, apparently I can leave Fort Oasis. Well, given the fact that the whole game is supposed to be stationed on Fort Oasis, I don't think that's a particularly great idea currently. Although, that said, looking at how the place looks, I probably ought to just go away. However, I don't know if that's really an option. Certainly not for the video, at least. But it is probably the sensible thing to do. At any rate, Total Chaos is developed by Trigger Happy Interactive and is published by Apogee Entertainment. Currently, it is available on Steam, at the time of recording, for, I think, around €30 or $30, maybe a little bit under. In fact, I can probably check that really quickly. No, sorry, it is available for €21, or your regional equivalent. At least that is the price locally for me. It is on sale until November 27th, so you have a couple of days to grab it. 15% off, of course. So, let's see what the game is all about. There is no other way. It is supposed to be a rather straightforward and linear adventure game with elements of horror, however, not anything like Amnesia or anything like that. No, this is a little bit more hands-on in the shape of you having a shotgun. And in fact, in that, it reminds me a lot of the original Fear. Of course, Fear was sort of, I think especially later down the line, but even early at the start in its initial, shall we say, release and the initial reaction people had to it was the main thing, well, that was mainly characterized by, and this is really what grabbed people's attention, especially later, but initially as well, is the slowdown time, the bullet time mechanics, where you can slow down time, you know, and in doing so you can create some really cool scenes of gunning people down and, you know, using all sorts of things to your advantage, the environment, and so on and so forth. But it was an extremely atmospheric game as well. They're gone. They're all just gone. My paradise. Something has taken it over. This isolation is killing me. Journal. Right, well, we have a journal. That's good. when do I get the shotgun? Also, why is this so incredibly bright? At any rate, the atmosphere in the game, I think you can tell just from me walking around, is absolutely gorgeous. And I love the fact that there is really good contrast between a light and the darkness. Right, oftentimes games like this tend to make everything completely black and sort of give you the idea that this is what horror is supposed to be. No, this atmospheric, how do I put it, balance between misty areas, the fog, the light, the darkness, playing around with colours, playing around with, well, colours not so much sort of drab and dreary, but playing around with all of these things is what makes the game absolutely beautiful, although in this particular case, maybe a little bit too bright, but at any rate. I do not own a weapon, do I? No, I do not. I have a meat can. Okay. As you can see, though, unlike Fear, the game has more of a survival element to it as well. You have hunger, you have, well, energy, hunger, health obviously being a thing. Rotten apples, does that? Decayed apples spoil and unsafe for consumption, and yet it doesn't seem to do anything negative, at least when mousing over it. Interesting. There is an inventory system, a weight system as well, so you can only carry so much, etc., etc. I'm assuming I can't make it to up there, but and drop down here. Okay, vodka. This is a throwable. Okay. Can be used as a crafting item as well. Tell you what, I don't really want to throw the vodka. Oh, it is highly flammable, though. We'll keep it as an option. And then we have our pickaxe. Oh god. Okay. I should mention that this is a completely blind first impressions video, and as such, I reckon it's probably not going to be the most informative one you have seen in your lives. In fact, quite the opposite. However, I do believe that there is a decent bit of value in going into a game like this completely blind, not knowing what to expect and not knowing what's around the corner, and, you know, showcasing it to the best of your ability. And giving you a raw, emotional reaction and a genuine reaction to, well, everything. I can break this as well. Interesting. Okay, probably should have broken a few more things along the way. I attack incredibly quickly. This is something I must remember in the future. Moderate durability. Weapons have durability. We've learned this now. Right. I'm going to be completely honest with you. For being so focused on an inventory system, on food, hunger, I don't know if thirst is a thing, possibly as well, crafting, etc., etc., the game's way, way too atmospheric and scary. Okay, and that works. This is locked. This, I'm assuming I need to, break through in one fell swoop. Interesting, okay. Don't have a headlamp or a light or anything like that. Press shift to evade. Okay, I'm assuming... Okay, where's the enemy? I mean, let's be honest here. If you're teaching me to evade stuff, then... there's going to be an enemy. Unfair. Perhaps this is the combat in the game? Saving is done via this. I can't save any other way, right? No. Okay. Okay. Fair enough. Although, like I said, given the focus on inventory management and everything, you get the feeling that this is more of a sandboxy game, but it's not. Nowhere does it say sandbox. However, I do appreciate all the different features, certainly. Don't get me wrong. Interesting. Keep breaking these boxes hoping to find some sort of weapon, I don't know, grenade or something. And yet, distinct lack of those. Need the foreman's key in order to operate all of these things. I believe it relatively safe to assume that Foreman is going to be one of the enemies that I have to practice my combat skills on. Oh. Never mind. How many times do I have to tell you about door 237? Because of your stupidity, when we tried to open the security gate, the entire block's grid went offline again. Until you get the wiring fixed, you have to disable all couplings just to open the door. You can't even do your job right, etc., etc. Oh well. Okay, so let me guess. Ah, 4 remaining. Okay. Hello. Good sir, there is a slight problem in that I have completely and utterly wasted the pickaxe that I was so generously given at the beginning, and I have a feeling that that pickaxe could have been very useful at this particular point in time to cave your skull in with, no offense intended, well, other than, you know, offense, and you know, as an attack. But, yeah, other than that, no offense to your person. Good God, you are ugly. Do not throw things at me, it is highly rude in my culture. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to end up in some form of dead end, one way or another, and I'm going to be very, very cross with myself. Okay, sequence complete. We have now, at least I believe, opened the door. And we'll also close the door behind us so that the infernal monstrosity will not chase us. Okay, so far, so good. Simple enough. Override our first save. We have dirty water. I'm assuming this... oh, it also reduces hunger. Okay, so hunger is thirst and hunger combined. Pretty much. Alright. Open up the next thing, and monster meat. Oh boy. Well, there's no pickaxe head crafting component can be fitted to a small wooden handle. Unfortunately, do not have a small wooden handle. Though I would love to find one. I get the feeling that I will soon. There is no way of jumping, at least not that I'm able to tell. I do not like this at all. Oh, I like it even less now. Now it looks like the scene from Silent Hill. Oh, Christ. Okay, ladder. No. And so we continue through exceptionally dark corridors and passages. Underground tunnels. Creepy underground tunnels which are collapsing as we speak. Truly. Okay, so I key in a combination and nope, that is not it. The sword is supposed to be pointing downwards. Got it. And now I need to find the rest of the information, I'm assuming. Somewhere around here. Tunnel key. Okay. The Omega symbol is supposed to be pointing left. That is Omega, right? Yeah. Okay, so when it was on the wall, it was like this. Now it's pointing right. It needs to be pointing left. I'm going to assume something very bold and say that this needs to point right and this needs to point up. It appears that I was correct via process of elimination. Although, just for the sake of it, let's go down here as well and see. If there was anything I missed, or maybe could have seen. Part of me wants to throw a, I don't know, an anything at this and see if it'll blow up, but somehow I doubt it. But anyways, I have opened the door. Yeah, tell you what though. Found the tunnel keys. Why not go back and see where those tunnels lead? Huh? Because if this leads somewhere where I don't want to be... I can't tell if this is telling me whether something's supposed to point in a particular direction or not. Yes, see? That thing is supposed to point right. So there you go. Oh, and the wheel is supposed to point up. Well, like I said, figured it out without the other two clues, but, yeah. Alright. Onwards we go. Save one more time. Locked, this time without much more information. Whoa. This is amusing. Most amusing. And when I say amusing, I mean mainly terrifying. Okay. Interesting. Assuming I'm supposed to let you come towards me and then I won't run past you all, right? Yeah. Right. And then... I don't know if I have the time to spare to be looking around.
You've come here to find something. I believe it is something we have both desired for a long time. Your presence in this place means that you are willing to do what I ask of you. If you follow my requests, I will take you to what it is that you desire.
Honestly, I desire to get the hell out of here, but, okay. I mean, if you say so, mysterious voice from the radio, what ill things have ever happened from following said mysterious voice?
This oasis. We've been here before, but it's not how we remembered it. A sickness has infested these walls, but I believe with your help, we can put a stop to it. On the north side of the island, a mine awaits us. We must reach it, descend into its depths, to the deepest point. Only there is where you will find the answers you seek.
Well, it's giving off very much Cthulhu vibes with the whole descend down the depths into a mine. Generally how this thing goes, but, well, generally how those stories go, but okay. A weapon of any description would be helpful, including the pickaxe that we mentioned before. Unfortunately, it would appear not yet. For a second, this looked like a chest, and I was thinking, oh goody. Description: Prozac 20mg tablets, repeat 5. Treatment for panic attacks, take 1 tablet per day. 20 milligrams? Jeez. It's a bit much, honestly, for Prozac. At least as far as I know. Medical doctor. But, isn't addiction a huge problem when it comes to Prozac, or, maybe addiction's the wrong word, but your body tends to adapt to it, from what I understand, over time, so taking large doses is very counterproductive, because you end up needing larger doses to get the same effect. And in that way, it's kind of similar to addiction. Okay, well, look, Dr. Thomas, I don't know if this medication is working. The symptoms aren't going away. If anything, they're getting worse. The brain shivers alone are unbearable. Okay, truth be told, that is kind of similar, or maybe not brain shimmers, but it kind of felt almost like brain shimmers. Something that I had up until semi-recently. It was a spine problem, but yeah, anyways. Getting a bit personal is what I'm getting at, so extra creepy. Please tell me there's something else we can try. Oh, that's a sentence I uttered as well. Or would it be so bad if we stopped taking the pills and just focused on the therapy instead? Let me know, thank you. Yeah, like I said, seems very similar to problems I had. Okay, loads of HP, loads of food, like that. Weapons, not so much. I also don't see the hunger bar anywhere, so I'm going to assume I'm not hungry yet. But, on we go. Okay, more medication and food. Underhall's key. Got it. Okay, you are a permanent enemy. Ouch. Okay. Quite the problem, this. Underhall's key, got it. Back to where I came from, this way, right? Get out of the way! I think I collected everything back there. Certainly felt like it. Oh. Okay. Yeah, you come up the stairs, I'm going down here. Thank you, notification for hunger, for saving my life, and now I'm bleeding. Lovely. Okay. Oh, and I can't pause to use any of my medications. So I'm just going to bleed for a bit, I guess. Okay. Stim pack. Bandage. Bandage, definitely. Use one of those. Okay. And then a stim pack. Or no. Maybe some apples. Well, I mean, it reduced my hunger. It's fair enough, I guess. Back into the fray. Oh. Did they die because they followed me too far out and towards the sunlight? Is that what happened? Because it kind of feels like that's what happened. Or maybe they just ran out of juice. I'm not trying to be funny. I mean it very literally. Maybe they just ran out of batteries. Okay, so I took the Underhall's key. I believed at one point I used it on the correct thing. May not be the case, but oh, you never know. Do I have... No. I do not have a map of any sorts. Here's the bleeding and the hunger bar as well, but whenever you get hungry or start to bleed, suffice to say you will know, right? Okay, I think it was that, wasn't it? Like, the door to the... Yeah, because this is locked. I may have messed up. Let me just check one more time to be absolutely certain that I know what I'm doing. I did come from over here, correct? And I'm not supposed to go back the same way I came. No, I definitely came from over here. Okay, just give me a second to find the spot where I'm supposed to be. Okay, so I've decided to jump ahead a little bit in the game. One, because I've spent an ungodly amount of time back there just, well, doing very little, to be honest with you. And when I finally found my way down, it was more of the same stuff that you already saw, so I wanted to show you something a little bit different. First and foremost, make no mistake, this is not an open world game, even though the inventory system sometimes might make it seem like one, it really isn't. Instead, it's a resource management system that guides you through a rather linear experience, and I don't mean that in a negative way. I get the feeling that the word linear has had some negative connotations recently, that people sort of look down on linear games a little bit, but there's really no reason to. I mean, I think linear games are fun, and they can be fine, and they can be very good. And I don't think there's anything wrong with having a linear game, especially one that's as atmospheric as this. Now, with that said, I do want to talk a little bit more about the game itself, and my criticisms and my praises of the game itself a little bit more, rather than just showcasing the environment, the enemies, and stuff like that. Now, I'm going to go through a couple of things that I already mentioned, but this is with hindsight as well, with the well, with added experience, shall I say, too. So, first and foremost, the game, obviously, and I talked about this at length, so I won't bother you too much with it, but the game looks phenomenal. It really does. It feels creepy. It hits all the horror vibes without having to resort to cheap jump scares and thrill moments like that, although the inability of your character to jump is a little bit strange at times, but at any rate, speaking of jumping, right, as I was saying, like, visually I'm really impressed by the game. Stuff like this, I'm not sure if it's a bug on my end or if I've done something wrong, but well, maybe it gets patched out, although the occasional bright spot does do wonders for variety in the environment, so I don't really mind it, even if it is a bit, even if it does look a little bit glitchy. Setting quick slots, right? Yes, I know I can set quick slots. Put this on 4, and put this on. We put this on 1. We can put this on 4. Put this on 2. And then this will cause minor bleeding as well, so I want to do... Probably want to do it like that, right? Yeah, there we go. Alright, lovely. So, at any rate, as I was saying... God, that is scary.
They will attempt to hinder our progress. They are forgotten, leftovers of a time long past. They were never meant to linger here. We'll need a key to bypass this door. Head to the graveyard nearby. There's a storage room hidden there.
Part of me thinks breaking these boxes open is not the best idea because of, well, everything. Now, at any rate, I do have some bricks now. I'm sure that'll come in very handy tactically and very soon as well. Anyways, I think I mentioned this before, but the one thing that where the game feels a little bit cheap is the enemies themselves. The way they act, the way they pathfind, the way they move. It makes the game feel a little bit cheaper than it should. And that's really my one criticism of it. Other than that, it really does deliver on pretty much everything that you'd expect. And I'm having a lot of fun with it later down the line as well. And only now am I being taught to parry, which, yeah, don't worry, we won't really be needing that. Speaking of still being taught stuff, this isn't particularly anywhere near the middle point of the game or anything like that now. Instead, we're firmly in the beginning. I think this is the second chapter. It's just a little bit later than the previous one. As you can see, I still haven't picked up any firearms. However, you know, it is, like I said, a little bit later down the line, so there is that. So we get rid of the bleeding, right? Get rid of that, and there we go. We haven't used up too much of our resources, although I am getting rather low on the durability for the pickaxe. And I am glad that there is a durability system for the weapons, although the risk-reward thing when it comes to breaking boxes still seems a little bit off, but, you know, we will see. At any rate, that's essentially the game. I feel like I've presented it to you as well as I can without delving too much into spoilers. You've seen the basic gist of the story, and you've seen what to expect. Of course, later down the line, there are more elements that get introduced. I'm assuming you will be introduced to a variety of enemies as well. We already saw two, one of which just sort of spontaneously combusted a little bit, but that's fine. And yeah, that's more or less it. Ultimately, I think the game justifies the price. Now, I don't expect this to play or act like a AAA game, nor do I expect it to cost $60, and I think it's a very nice balance of what you get versus what you pay for. The game's entertaining. I would certainly recommend you pick it up on sale, but even currently as things stand, well, it is on sale now, but even if you want to wait for a larger sale, that's completely fine, but even in the current price range, I think it's more than fair. And the only thing that's really slightly off-putting is the combat against these basic guys, which is they're serviceable. It's not bad by any stretch of the imagination. It's no Dying Light, but it's not bad by any stretch of the imagination. And there you go, we've unlocked a shortcut as well, and this leads us back to, I believe, the little quasi-safe base area over here that we have, doesn't it? And there's another save point here. So, as you can see, the game does open up a little bit. It's not just a linear sequence of corridors. You do get to move around, although unfortunately I do not have a map yet. Supposedly later I will find armor. I'm not sure about a map, but that would certainly be helpful. At any rate, that's it. That's more or less it. If you have any questions about the game itself, I did not mean to do that. If you have any questions about the game itself, feel free to ask down in the comments below. I'll try and answer to the best of my abilities. But yeah, I mean, it reminds me a lot of some of the older horror games, like I mentioned, Fear, Condemned, stuff like that, that were genuinely creepy and they had soul behind them, right? They had an amazing atmosphere. And this game leans into its atmosphere quite a bit, and that helps you sort of get over some of the other things that are maybe not as, how do I put this, maybe not as polished, or maybe don't look or feel as well as you'd expect them to, but, or maybe as well as you'd love them to be, but at any rate, that's it for this video. Thank you very much for watching, ladies and gentlemen. Please do let me know down in the comments below what you thought of the game, from what you've seen of it thus far. I am rather curious to hear your opinion on it. The Steam reviews for it are pretty good, I would say, thus far, so... Oh, that's interesting, just a random dark corridor. Nothing inside it. Anyways, like I said, the Steam reviews for the game are pretty positive so far, and it seems like the community is enjoying it, so yeah, do let me know what you think down below, and I will see you all soon. Until then, have fun, take care, and bye-bye.